Hi, friends. Welcome back to another episode of Your Well Life. I am super excited about today's episode because today I'm interviewing my online fitness trainer and nutrition coach, Tess Franklin, who, while she calls herself just an online fitness trainer for moms who want to get strong, toned, and feel even better than they did before kids, I don't think that title actually speaks to her. I have worked with so many trainers and so many coaches. She is truly the best. First of all, she has been like a fitness and bikini model, did bodybuilding. She's done it all. If you look at her Instagram, you'll see like the most, like her past of like her ripped body and like all the different competitions and all the things. But like, she's a mom of three running a business, and she is not aggro and makes it look so easy. And also makes the process easy. And she is one of those coaches who is not like one of those like hardcore coaches. She understands moms. She understands the lifestyle. She understands the energetic body. She understands stress. She just has such an incredible way about her. She is so like warm and giggly and like light, and the combination of her power, strength, wisdom, and embodiment of her work combined with like the lovely, warm, and gentle in like soft human that she is on the inside makes her such a remarkable human being. And so I wanted to have her on this podcast because I've been working with her for the past 6 months, and I have noticed that I feel so much better in my body, and I just have such a more, a better way about the way that I go about approaching my health, my fitness, and my nutrition. I've built better practices, a better mindset. It feels fluid. There's no stress or constriction involved. And it's really because of her guidance. So I know you're just like me. You're busy. You want to feel good in your body, but you don't have the time to count the macros and do all the annoying things and weigh the food and all that nonsense. And she is going to support you in helping you understand how to embody your best body. So listen up. Are you a busy mom with a full heart, craving a sense of liberation, ease, and delicious fulfillment in mind, body, soul, and life? Welcome to Your Well Life podcast, where we help moms like you reclaim optimal well-being, align with your truest self, and find harmony in life, all with ease and flow. I'm your host, Misha Vayner, a mom of three who went from hustling NYC fashion girl to trauma-informed holistic health and life coach, living the slow, soul-nourishing life. Together, we'll dive into raw, unfiltered conversations that spark mindset shifts and offer practical tools for navigating motherhood, health, and relationships, all through a shame-free, trauma-informed lens. You ready, mama? Let's go.
Let's keep it rolling.
Oh my God, the best.
That's going.
Oh my God. Yeah, exactly. I feel like I just want to start by saying that I specifically really find you to be extremely special in a world of a bajillion health coaches and fitness coaches and macro coaches, and everyone has their own. There's so many people out there doing things, and out of all of them, and as someone who's been passionate about health and fitness and well-being her whole life, and feel like I've tried everything and had such a range of coaches, and not even a range of coaches in necessarily like the fitness and health space, but even just having coaches in general as someone who's an entrepreneur, whatever. And I really feel that you're so special for so many reasons that I want to talk about today. And I mean that sincerely. It's not just I want to, if it's okay, how I want to go about this podcast is I just want to speak to, from my experience, what led me to you and what I've experienced that I feel is really different and unique and magical about your unique work. And then go into asking you some questions about how your magic came about. So how does that sound?
That sounds great. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
So I would just want to share, and I might have mentioned this when we first met, but I obviously, after having kids, the way that your body responds to the things that it did before is not the same. A combination of age and, the changes of like hormonal changes and all the things. And then also our capacity changes and we have more stressors. And so what was working for me pre-kids was no longer working after. And I personally used to be a person that like really always felt that I needed to be a part of a fitness class in order to be in that energy and get the motivation and to follow someone showing me what to do. And because I just would feel like no matter how much I was taught, I was like, I had amnesia and I'd go into the gym, I'd see all these things. I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do. So I just feel like, and then so I always felt like had to rely on fitness classes. And for various reasons, for a long time, I really loved CrossFit. I found that it was a great community. I loved the way I felt, but it was also very adrenalizing and it had a huge impact on my nervous system. I have a very sensitive nervous system. I have complex PTSD. I have a lot of layers of trauma that I'm always healing and I'm very open about. It's why I do the work that I do. I'm in human design. I'm a projector. So I have just like a very sensitive constitution and have to be really conscious of how I support my nervous system and my energy. And CrossFit, just like my adrenals and my body was really taking a beating. And so and my joints, and I was kept injuring myself. And it was hard. Let me turn my notifications on. I really loved it. But at the same time, it was taking a toll on me. And I was definitely it was an interesting thing because for a long time, because of the trauma my body held, I needed that level of output in order for me to even like sleep or feel normal. Like I used to have so much, like such an adrenalized system from so much trauma that if I didn't get it out with a certain level of energy, I literally would be like a crazy person. Like I was like a Looney Tune. I couldn't sleep. I would be really emotional. And as I did a lot of my trauma healing and really worked on that, I started to no longer need that type of impact. And I also realized that it was actually backfiring. So I started, and I also found that the need for having to rely on fitness classes, I felt that it was just really freaking hard because I felt like I really wanted to understand. First of all, some of them I didn't like. They were at times that didn't work. I just felt like I had it was another annoying thing to have to figure out and outsource my power, where I was like, all of my work is really about helping women understand their unique systems and how to support them in a way that's aligned for them so that they can thrive and allow them to be more empowered in nurturing and supporting themselves. And this was the one area I was not empowered in. I was like, I don't really know. I know, what to do. And I knew when I left CrossFit that I needed like functional fit. I know I need strength training, but I was like, I know I need functional training that will not impact my joints and my adrenals, but will also strengthen me. I have osteopenia and I really need to continuously strengthen my bones. So I went to this like other online coach before I found you. And as someone who is very disciplined and has always been disciplined about her health, I found myself working with them, but also is what we like life happens and I allow myself to give myself grace and find that balance between giving myself grace and honoring what my body needs. And I found this coach that I started working with to reach my goals. And it was really it was very intense. It was very extreme. And if there was ever a day where I couldn't like overachieve I was met with a bunch of shame and a lot of guilt and a sort of like literally messaging that like, you're not doing your job, you're failing. This is not, and I wanted, and the whole thing was really interesting to me because first of all, that's not motivating, but also like, a lot of the point here is a lot of coaches and a lot of people don't understand that like when you push a stressed body, it only backfires. And I know that firsthand from my own journey. In fact, when I had my health breakdown 12 years ago and I had complete burnout, my brain shut down, I couldn't work on all the things. I was on the heels of pushing myself hard, working out, counting calories, eating very like clean, all the things. And when I went to the doctor, they were basically like, your body is in so much stress that is in such a stress response that it's actually holding on to fat. And the more that you're working out, it's actually impacting it more, impacting your hormones more, and putting you in starvation mode more, and all these things. And I learned, once they told me, like, you're not allowed to work out for a few weeks. You can just do yin yoga. We need to calm your nervous system. We need to slow down, all of these things. I actually released like 20 pounds. And I really started to understand the impact that stress and fitness, if done in a way that's not aligned, has on your nervous system, which has on your hormones and the entire ecosystem of your body. And so I'm very keenly aware of, and I deeply believe that, yes, we need to show up for ourselves. We need to we do need to work out and do what it is that we need to improve our health. But it really needs to always take into account like the person's constitution, where they're at, what they have capacity for, and come from that place. And if it's done in a skillful way where, where the person understands the whole picture of a person and understands it, this on a deeper level, like it really can be supportive. When it's done in a way that is shameful or constrictive or extreme, especially as busy moms, it can actually really backfire. Mm-hmm. And so after going through a lot with this person, trying to make it work, feeling like I was trying really hard, and I was actually, believe it or not, I came down to 96 pounds, and I was supposed to do a photo shoot for completing my thing in 2 months from then. And they wanted me to be at 86 pounds. And they said to me, and I still had time, and they basically cut me from the photo shoot. And they said, you didn't lose enough weight. And I thought I looked pretty damn good. And that messaging to me was, I feel like, very toxic. And I said to myself, I'm like, it's really about my journey and the body that I want to be in and the progress that I've made. And I also felt, so all this to say, I ended up releasing that relationship and was seeking for a while to find a coach that I felt really understood moms, understood how to work with moms in a way that, I think is supportive and motivating. And I found you on Instagram, fell in love with you, was like, I think you even know, I feel like I booked a call and canceled the call for years because I feel like I was like just in my own stuff and trying to figure it out. Anyway, I really felt like this was, before even working with you, I felt connected to you. And then we started working together at the end of,
October, was it?
October?
Yeah.
October? Yeah. And while I've been in such a really intense season of life, I have found my experience in working with you to be like the greatest gift in it. Like, not a thing. In fact, I feel as though for so many people, you might think, and I think this is a testament to you and something I want anyone to hear that's ever considering working with you, is that like, you're typically like, I need to wait until this point, until I'm ready to lean into doing it. And and we both know I was anything but
There's
ready.
No good time.
There's no good time.
There's no good
My
time.
gym was like still being set up. I didn't know anything in it. But the benefit that I've had, among so many benefits that I've had in being in your energy and supporting you, and there's so many pieces we'll talk about, but big picture, without getting granular, first, I just want to say, has been your approach to supporting moms is motivating, supportive, and it really has allowed me to move through really hard seasons with more ease, because I just feel deeply seen and gotten from you. So I just want to start by saying thank you for you and
thank
your
you
work.
so much. Thanks so much for that. I'm glad you feel like that. Yeah, I think it's tough with other coaches, right? Like, where did I want to go? Oh, there's so many things to unpack with this.
Yeah, there's so much. Well, let's just, I think the first piece is that you look amazing. And I think it's good to start with like, I would love to just understand like how you found this work for yourself personally, and
Mm.
then decide to share with others, because you're such a natural at it and you're so incredible. I would love to hear
Yeah.
that.
Oh,
Yeah.
so I had always been active. I was always fit. Like I did karate growing up. I did all the sports in university. We traded one activity for other activities and we went a little off the deep end. And my boyfriend at the time was like, you need an outlet. So he brought me to the gym and I started to learn a little bit about that. And then I came across fitness magazines. And back then it was like Oxygen magazine. There's these beautiful women on the covers. And I was like, I want that. So I got into training because I wanted to be on the cover of a magazine.
Yeah.
So I started going into the fitness world and fitness competitions. So
This is
that
in
was fine.
college.
Just after university. Yeah.
Okay.
So I was just finishing up university. And what led me to training with moms, what led me here was that I got pregnant. It was a surprise. And I was so blessed to have three beautiful, easy, wonderful pregnancies where I felt strong and empowered and like the sexiest I've ever felt. I had so much energy. And back in the day, right, this is early or 2010s, let's say, there still wasn't a lot of information about how to train when you're pregnant. Like the internet was,
Yes,
well,
you're
I was
right.
social media. So there was, especially not strength training. There was like, you can do Pilates, you can go walking. I was like,
Totally.
cool, but I'm not like those women. I've been training. I'm an experienced exerciser at this point.
Yeah.
And I feel fine. I feel really good. Why do I only have to do
Have to-
walking and yoga and stuff?
Yeah.
Which nothing wrong with that. That's fine. And I recognize that some people do have that experience where they need to just tone it down, but some people feel good. So
Need more.
I was looking at it from the perspective of someday I would love to just I wanted to learn more about how to train myself during pregnancy, and then I wanted to share that with other women. Now obviously I didn't go the pre-postnatal route, but I think ever since then I've just had a connection with moms and understanding that we are, I wouldn't say we're an underserved community anymore because there are quite a lot of people who train moms now. It's a hot market.
Yeah.
But I don't know if there's many people who understand, who listen, who recognize that there is a delicate balance between women who want to push really hard, but then like you're saying, also understanding that there's real life stuff that happens and we can't always push really hard. Sometimes we have to pull back and there has to be a little bit of give and take there. But at the same time, you don't have to go super gentle on moms either. Like we still have dreams, we still have goals, we still want to feel
Yes.
strong, we still want to feel sexy. So it's like, how do we balance those two and say, I want to push you to be your best, but while also recognizing that sometimes we have to pull back a little bit. So that's where I landed with moms.
Yeah, no, I think so many thoughts are coming to me about your specific experience as someone who's like dabbled with different people. A perfect example of this is of how you approach it that works versus others. When I was with the other coach, they had given me my macros and they had this very detailed, like it was a crazy spreadsheet where I had to basically ahead of the week put everything. I had to basically get all of the data of every item and the calories, put it into a spreadsheet. I had to basically make all these things in a spreadsheet that I was very complicated and it took like hours on end. And then
Mm,
from the spreadsheet, they wanted you to weigh everything raw, pack everything. They had just all of these things. And if you didn't do it perfectly and right and have like an entire 24 hours to spend on it, you were like shamed and you couldn't follow through. And if you didn't do it on and whatever. And it was extremely overwhelming to me. And also, even when I did commit and go all in, like there was all of these like flaws with the system where if one thing was wrong, it just you didn't know how to adapt and they wouldn't give you tools because you weren't supposed to have one flaw. And
mm-hmm.
with you, I'll never forget when I was in the overwhelm, you were like, first of all, like I remember one time you saying to me, we want to just focus on just thinking about the next meal. Even if you can't plan the week, I want you to just think about what you're going to eat for the next meal before it, which in and of itself sounds so basic, but it was so incredibly, my ear is ringing for some reason,
Oh,
no idea
no.
what's happening. But for some, it was so interesting because it was exactly what honestly trauma work is. Trauma work is is being able to think in nuance and have a more open mind and think creatively and curiously versus having extremes and rigidity. And you were like, let's just start with this. And that opened me up to giving me spaciousness to think about the next thing and not be overwhelmed. And then that leads to, and then you were like, and then we're going to think a day ahead. And then we're going to think a week ahead. Even with the food, you were like, okay, like there's all these ways to make it easy. You had the Eat This Much program, which gives you meals, you don't even have to think about it, and gives you the recipes. It dummies it down for you, takes all the effort off of. Right. And then if you want to go more granular, you want to use something else, like you also guide people through how to use MyFitnessPal in a way, and you go through all of it in your programs, but you also have everything outlined so a busy mom can like lean into it, and you're very responsive, and you just have thought through the fact that this is just because I'm knowledgeable about it and I can like whatever, this is the Wild West for these moms. They're overwhelmed. Like, how can I make it simple? And how can I give them tools that they can slowly implement until they're at that place? And I think that's the beauty of
yeah. And I think a lot of coaches and myself like included too, when I was first starting, was we've had that experience of like, I was a competitive bodybuilder. So I had come from that place of being extremely detailed and perfect and like everything on the nail, like everything was right. And I got crazy results really fast. That is true. But not everyone's in that situation. And that had to change. The way I competed before I had kids was very different than how I started to train myself and eat after I had kids. So it's learning how to bridge that gap, right? Between, okay, I'm here, but the rest of my clients are over here. Like they're not at the same point I'm at, and that's okay. And it's through taking a lot of feedback from clients too over the years. Honestly, I made a lot of mistakes with clients when I first started, and thankfully I've had some wonderful relationships with clients who are just like, I need something simpler than this. And it's just problem solving and listening and hearing, okay, what would make this feasible for you? So just, I think it really starts with listening to where the person's at and asking a lot of questions about what would feel feasible for you. And it's just, if you're starting here and we want to get you here, what are all the little tiny baby steps that can happen in between? And let's just start at the beginning and start picking our way through. It doesn't have to be 0 to 100. It can just be 1% better, 1% better, 1% better. And that eventually will get you to where you want to go. And I think that's the thing with moms especially, is we have to start releasing this idea of, I'm going to get fast results and I'm going to diet like I used to in my 20s. I'm going to lose so much weight so fast. Babe, you're not at that point anymore. We just don't have the time in a day to devote to these goals. And maybe you want to create that space for yourself. That's fine. Like some women do, like just have the desire and ability to clear their schedules, even though they have kids, and make that space for themselves. That's great, but not everybody can do that. So it's just, again, recognize where you're at, what you have the capacity for, and then adjust your expectations based on what you're willing and able to do. And if it takes a little bit longer, that's okay. Any forward momentum is still forward momentum.
Hey mama, imagine if healing your stress patterns could change everything. Because it can. Whether it's reacting in ways you don't recognize, people pleasing, or overthinking, these patterns stem from unresolved trauma stored in your body. They create chronic stress impacting your health, relationships, and how you show up in life. That's why I created the Align and Thrive Workbook, a free 5-day mini training designed to help you heal at the root. You'll learn what trauma is and how it's showing up in your body and life. You'll be guided through a proven 5-step process to heal and rewire these patterns, shifting from reactive and overwhelmed to aligned and in flow. You'll get a comprehensive workbook filled with practices and journal prompts to help you implement this work starting now. It's truly transformational. It's what I wish I had when I was struggling on my journey, and it's completely free. Download your Align and Thrive workbook for free today. Head to www.mishavayner.com/workbook and let's begin this journey together. You can also click on the link in the show notes and grab it today. Yeah, and I think a big key piece here, I'm going to say this last thing, and then I'm going to go into some like more specific questions about your work in a different way. But I think that you help people I think there is a sense of feeling a little bit like spun around after trying all the things after motherhood. Like I know even
Mm.
for me in my earlier days of motherhood, I was in much better shape because I didn't care what the kids were eating something totally different from me. I was going to CrossFit every single day. It was so easy for me to eat the same thing. Like I wasn't, now there's 3 children, we eat family dinner. It's like all different. I don't know, things
Sports.
change. It's right.
Sports.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the way. Exactly. Your nights are different. It's all, and I think that but so my point is coming into your world, I think a big piece of it that's you don't even realize is that like you really help create this space of helping people like rebuild the relationship with this approach in a new, refreshing way and help them like root into things because it can feel like the Wild Wild West. And I think that's just like really beneficial. But I would love to hear, okay, is it okay if I ask you some more like direct questions?
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you find are some of the biggest challenges that moms face, like common misconceptions, maybe about like postpartum or motherhood and how you address them with your clients regarding like the work?
Ooh. Okay. Ooh, misconceptions. Let's start with like common hurdles, which
Yeah,
is,
we can,
yeah, which unpredictable schedules. You just mentioned it. Like that is a huge one where we used to have a very nice, cozy 9 to 5 job. We came home and everything was exactly as we left it. And now that's not the case. And
yeah,
it's a different schedule every night of the week, every month is different. So it can be hard to find your footing when you get into a little routine and then something changes. All of a sudden the kids are on break or the class that they were in on Wednesdays is now done and now it's shifted to Thursdays. It's, oh my God. So
yeah.
I think unpredictability is a big one. I think finding routine where you can, you know that I'm a big fan of meal prep. I
I want to
think
talk
that
about that.
is, yeah, that's a big one just because it's something that you can do once a week that will
Yep.
be some consistency throughout the week, no matter what you're doing. And it helps you to just have those meals that are already made that you can always have, creating space in your workout program for flexibility. I think
Yeah.
we love to overschedule ourselves.
Yeah.
So many women, like I work with very high achieving women who really want more for themselves. And they come in, they're like, let's do 6 days a week, 6 days of training per week. Yeah, let's do daily workouts. I'm like, whoa, let's slow down. Let's give you like 4. But
Yeah.
leaving that space in your schedule leaves you the ability to shift things around, not if, but when things come up, because something's going to come up so that you can
Right.
move that workout to another day or you can adapt things. And then teaching moms really how to adapt their plan. So if you can't get the full workout, then what are the 2 things that we really need to work on today? Or if you can't do barbell squats because you can't get to the gym because your kid is sick and you can't leave the house, what can we do? We can do a goblet squat with a backpack or something. So just teaching them like really what you were mentioning earlier about just like actually understanding like how movement works and what we're doing and why we're doing it. Like the more you can understand that, the more you can be more flexible and problem solve. So that would
Yeah.
be one is unpredictability.
I want to talk about meal planning because a question that I get, I know I just answered this for one of my clients in my community, like around like tools and tips and strategies for meal planning as a busy mom. I think that it's like, I know like some things that I've done that I find to be beneficial, but you are definitely like, this is your world. If somebody was like, okay, like I really want to meet my health goals. I have a family of 5. I work during the week. Like, I want you to give me like a quick just overview of what you suggest I do what would you recommend? What would you
I
say?
always recommend leaning into repetition. So, trying to have similar foods, breakfast and lunch, those are really big ones. And I know it sounds monotonous,
No,
but just I love a little bit of
monotony.
routine.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too.
So that doesn't have to be like, oh, you're eating the same breakfast and lunch for the rest of your life. You can rotate it every week, but
Yep.
okay, so this week I'm going to have a quiche for breakfast and I'm going to have let's say lasagna or like noodle salad for lunch and just have those set. That way you know for sure and you can make a big batch and you can just pick away at it through the week. So I always recommend leaning into repetition or if you don't want to have whole meals, just have a couple of foods. So like a big batch of rice, a big batch of chicken and a pre-made salad or cut up vegetables and then you can mix and match those. But using that all week. And then let dinner be the flexible meal. And really give yourself some grace with dinner too. Like it doesn't have to be gourmet, 1 hour cooking meals. Like it really can just be pasta with some ground beef and a veggie on the side. Like it's really all right to have that. So
Yeah.
having finding ease wherever you can. We have so many pre-made meals now at stores. We have so many pre-cut vegetables. Make it as easy as possible for yourself and lean into that. There's some great pre-made options. There's HelloFresh now. So as much as you can, just take the burden off.
Totally. I feel so, first of all, from a trauma standpoint and a stress standpoint, routine and consistency is actually exactly what our nervous systems need to settle
Mm,
in. It needs that consistency. And I'm not saying it necessarily needs to be, like you said, the exact same thing every day, but that is the antidote for trauma. Trauma is like not knowing what to expect,
yeah.
constant like dysregulations, constant chaos, and your unpredictability. So it actually can be twofold beneficial to have it thought through. And to your point, like maybe I like sometimes to just even just change up the sauces. If I have a batch of grilled chicken
So
and I
simple.
have some like greens, or I have cooked broccoli, or I have whatever, but then I make a bowl and one day I might want to put like, I don't know, mango sauce on it. One day it's honey mustard. One day, and yeah, so I feel like it's just helpful to know. I think leaning into repetition, I think, is a really good thing in figuring out maybe if you just change a couple of flavors or
Hmm.
sauces. I love that. Okay, so a couple other things. So somebody specifically from your community messaged me
Oh,
around with a question, and but I want to start with a bigger one. And then, so let's talk about like fitness. So people who her specific question was and then is if you only have 20 minutes, how do you
mhm,
max your workout at home with limited equipment? But in that, if we could also
mm.
talk about what are your top three sort of like strategies for busy moms who like if somebody wanted to set up a fitness routine and felt like they had a blank canvas, what would you say? Do these three things in your routine every week, or is there something
Hmm.
like that you could
Hmm.
suggest?
Hmm. So I find that the thing that's lacking the most from mom's fitness programs is really heavy resistance training. I don't mean boot camp classes. I don't mean like YouTube
Yep.
classes where they're doing 20 pounds, 100 pounds of weight or more. Like
Yes.
really heavy stuff. That would be the thing. If you only have 20 minutes, it would be, here's the thing. If you, yeah, it requires a lot of nuance, right? Do you always only
Yeah.
have 20 minutes? Or is it just once in a while 20 minutes? So if we're talking about like once in a while 20 minutes, let's say you have a routine, like this has happened with my clients too, where they go to the gym and they only have 20 minutes. Something happened and now their workout time got cut short. What I would
Yes.
tell them is let's focus on the big, heavy compound lifts, things like squats, deadlifts, pull ups, bench presses, rows, things that move multiple joints and multiple muscles at the same time that you can overload. Do a solid warm up to get ready for that, and then just spend the rest of the workout getting to a really heavy weight on that one exercise.
I
That's it.
love that.
That's it. Take your rests. Don't rush the rests. Take your 1.5 to 2 minute rests and just work up to a really freaking heavy weight. And then if you have time afterwards, cool. Then do a little bit of abs. Do like some other stuff, some other accessory
But you got
exercises.
the big nugget
But you
in.
got the
Yeah.
big one in. And that's because that is the thing that we don't get in our daily life. How often do we pick up? Like you can supplement if you really wanted to. You could do some body weight squats in your kitchen while you're doing
Right. But
cooking. Who does that? But like you could
no,
find other ways. You could walk after dinner. Like you can find other ways to incorporate cardio and little movements, but it's really hard to find
right.
time to lift really heavy. So if we only have 20 minutes in the gym,
Do
let's make the
that.
most of it. Do that. And then you can find other ways to sprinkle in the rest, but let that
I
be the focus.
love that. That's
Yeah, it's
brilliant.
yeah.
Well, so then I actually
Yeah.
want to reframe what I had said before. Because so the actual question I meant to ask was like, how could you help busy moms that want to get regular exercise into their routines without feeling overwhelmed? I think what you said
Mm.
is exactly right. I think, is it like when your kids are eating dinner, dropping into like push-ups on the floor or doing, I also do those things,
So,
but
yeah, eh, here, okay. If that's the stage that you're at where you really only can do it while the kids are eating, like you're so busy in a day that you can only do that, then start with that. But I would love every woman and every mom to get to a place where she's able to communicate with her partner, where she's able to set some boundaries with work, where she's able to set boundaries with her
With herself.
children, because that's a big one too. Like we need to have boundaries with our kids. It's actually good for them to have
Yep.
that too.
100%.
And tell everyone, mommy needs 20 minutes to work out. So,
Yes.
babe, take care of the kids, occupy yourselves, work. I'm going to shut it off. If you're not even able to carve out 20 minutes in a day out of 24
And
hours,
you need to come
this
see
is,
me too.
yes, yes. Like, truly, that's
Yeah.
really, we need to talk about setting some boundaries, because
Yeah.
there's no reason you need to be running ragged like that where you don't have 20 minutes. Now, there are some clients who I've had who are like nurses and single moms. They're in a league of their own. I don't, honestly, that's like a survival mode type of thing. But for the most part, I think we can squeeze it in
We
if
can.
we make some shifts and let some things go. And you're right, that's exactly where your work would come in, and just giving permission to set boundaries and release things that aren't like really important for the thing that really is, which is your health. It's really important.
And it'll pay off. I think that's the biggest
Yeah.
thing is number one, it'll pay off in the way that you're pouring into your kids and your partnership and your home and your work when you've already poured into yourself
Hmm.
first. Because I always
Hmm.
think it's like giving people, like someone says they're hungry and giving them a rotten apple. It's thanks. Well, it's like that's not give that, it's not actually helpful. Give someone
Yeah.
something that, like, so give to yourself so you can give to everyone else from that place. So I feel like, I don't know. I just feel like that's, and I think that if there isn't, and even this morning I was walking on the treadmill when my daughter, we have a rule that like before 7 o'clock, don't come downstairs. Like if you have to like still get dressed, read in your bed, make your bed, whatever, but like you got come downstairs not before 7. They don't always listen. So at 6:20, my daughter came into the gym when I was on the treadmill. And I like obviously said good morning and talked to her for a second. And then basically said to her, I was like, I'm not ready till 7 o'clock. See you. And I
Yeah.
did feel that feeling. I wasn't rude about it, but I did feel that feeling in my stomach. And I just like, but it was good that you need to model these behaviors.
Right.
They then come in and they also want to start working out. They see that mama
Yeah.
prioritizes herself. Maybe I should go take a shower. You know what I mean?
Well, and what a gift to give to them too, to be independent, to say, I trust you. You can figure out breakfast. You can do
Yes.
these things by yourself. I believe in you. Like
Yep.
they can have a little bit of independence too, and it's good for them to have that. I really think it's a positive thing for kids to have boundaries as well. And like you said, like modeling that for them so that when your daughter gets to this point in her life where she has kids, she doesn't feel like I can't take care of myself. She's had that role model, like she has that blueprint now of like how to be a great mom, but also take care of yourself. You've given that to
Mhm.
her. That's a wonderful thing to give your kids.
Huge. Yeah. Okay. I want to make sure I get to the other. Okay. So, how do you, oh, I see. Okay. This is one. Why do you prioritize mobility and functional core strength in your programs? And what benefits have you observed in your clients as a result?
This is this one from my community?
No, this is from ChatGPT. But I was
Oh,
like
because
having a whole
that's like,
dialogue with them. Yeah.
okay, so repeat the question. Why do you prioritize functional core strength?
Like mobility and functional core strength, and what benefits have you observed in your clients as a result?
So functional core strength, I've completely gotten away, not completely gotten away from things like crunches and stuff for like abs. I know
Okay.
like moms, like once we've been through pregnancy, our core changes. And I
Yeah.
think the biggest thing for me when I was reintegrating movement after I had my pregnancies was learning just how to move in my new body and how to use my core after it had been through something fairly traumatic. The thing is, nobody teaches you how to use your core unless you go to a pelvic floor physiotherapist, but
Yeah.
not all of us are so blessed. And it wasn't, again, going back to 2012, that wasn't that popular back then. We didn't do pelvic floor physios. And so I do a lot of functional core strength with my mom clients because they haven't had it. They haven't had that exposure to pelvic floor physiotherapy. They haven't had exposure to cues like bracing and breathing properly, like something as
Yes.
simple as breathing changes. Or you just, what used to not take any thought before now takes a lot of thinking and focus and
Intention.
intentionality.
Yeah.
So that's why
Oh,
I do functional training. And the thing about a functional core is a beautiful core. A functional body is a beautiful body. Like when you are able to use the muscles you're supposed to use everything flows together. Everything develops the way it's supposed to. The abs, the six pack, that's going to come with things like diet and nutrition.
Right.
But you need a functional core in order to lift really heavy and not get injured and go about your daily life and not have pelvic floor dysfunction. So that's why
Yeah.
the focus
Well,
on
it's like you,
functionality over things like crunches. Like you
I
can
think
get the
that's
same benefit from crunches as a bunch of other things. Sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, I think that I'm like loving this because it's so important that we have that strong foundation of which to
Mhm.
work from. I noticed that from the beginning of this program and from you're like, let's focus on foundations first. Like you cannot
Yes.
see because also then you injure yourself and you can't be
Yep.
like flailing. If you're not doing things correctly, you could throw
Hmm.
your back out, like all these things. So
Hmm.
I love that you're really thoughtful about making sure that people pace themselves, you meet them where they're at, you help them really understand how to build a solid foundation and then build from there. So like
Right.
people
Much to
and
the and much to the chagrin of a lot of my clients, because like I said, women come in and they're like, yeah, I want to go, I want to get ripped, I want to get strong. And here I'm like, cool, let's start with some pelvic tilts.
yeah, and they're like, fuck
And
you.
that's,
That's initially
yeah,
what I
exactly.
said. So
That's what everybody says. And I get that it's really hard. And again, it's finding that balance between pushing someone and pulling them back. And it's almost like a slingshot where we have to pull back just a little bit at the beginning so that you can really like shoot
yes.
forward a lot faster with a lot more speed and strength going forward. But like you do have to just, and even going through this experience, there are times where you have to pull back a little bit and say, it's okay for me to rest so that I can recover and come back stronger. But it's actually harder sometimes for me to pull my clients back than it is to push them forward, funny enough.
Yeah, no, and I feel like it's also at the beginning of the program, like people are still learning how to build a commitment to show up for themselves. So you want to keep the stakes low of like you were like, I remember the first time you were like, I just want you to get through the week. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Just
Like
do
I just want you to show up.
the workouts.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
move.
yeah. What
That's
do you
it.
feel like the people that are the most successful in your program? What do you see in them that they do? Is it like most adherence to diet,
No.
consistency, heavier loading? What do you see as the
Okay, so I brainstormed my answers for this one. The first one is communication. The
mm,
people who communicate with me the most, I swear it's like a direct correlation with people who are very successful in the program, people who check in with me regularly, even when they have a really bad week.
mhm.
DM me, ask questions, just let me know where they're at. And I think it signals a
I
level of
love that.
buy-in because you're
Yes.
committed. You're just like people who communicate are ones who want to implement that change. But also, when you communicate with me and let me know what's going on, then I can help you. I can help
Yeah.
you if I don't know what's happening. And that's something
Yeah.
you have been phenomenal at, is keeping me in the loop and like being extremely honest about, I can do this, I cannot do this. And it's like, cool. I can make here's the thing with the skilled trainer, they can make a plan for anything. That's our
Yeah.
job, is to figure out how to meet you where you're at and develop a program for what you're doing. Whether that's 1 day a week or 5 days a week of training, we can make that happen. That's our job. But I have to know where you're at. So communication was the big one, and learning. People who have just a thirst for knowledge, who absorb the learning content, who are asking questions, who are like watching, like listening to your feedback. Just like there's a curiosity, I think, about
Yes.
not just how but why things work. They and I think it signals again like a growth mindset, like looking at this
Mm,
as fitness isn't a thing that you pass or fail at, it's a skill to be built. So they're
yeah.
looking for like, how do I build this skill, how do I like learn a little bit, how do I improve? So I think just that learning component, that desire to learn and to improve, that's a really big commonality as well between my most
Mm,
successful clients. And then the last one, and I know you're going to agree with this, is community and
yeah.
a support system. And of course, every client who I work with has me, but also having an additional person or people outside of it, whether that is a supportive partner. And I know not everyone's blessed to have a partner, let alone a supportive partner, but maybe that is something like a friend who's into fitness, or a Facebook group, which are free and aplenty, or it's social media, just sharing your wins on Instagram and finding your people there. But having community and support is so important, just to feel like you're not alone. This isn't a weird thing. And I think when you're trying to make these lifestyle changes too, it can feel so out of place. I feel so weird. I'm that weirdo walking around the soccer dome when nobody else is. But having even just a couple other people around you normalizing, no, it's okay to want to be active and it's okay to eat and it's okay to make these changes makes a huge difference. And that's part of why I actually love going to the gym rather than being at home. Just because I
Yeah.
get to be in an environment, and I don't really talk to, that's not true, I talk a lot.
No,
But
but
even if I weren't going to talk to someone, just being around other individuals who are committed to like making change and to growth and to pursuing something, that feels like it feels normal. It feels good.
uplifting. Yes.
Uplifting. Yeah.
I fully agree with that. In fact, like if I could go to the gym, I would, but it's not in our area. But I feel like you do have a community online too, which I feel like I need to lean into more. I think that's such an important reminder. It is true. They say that your success is like a reflection or like something
The
about
five
their,
people around you.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's so true. And it sometimes by hearing and witnessing other people going through things or looking to improve something, it sparks something inside of you like, oh, I want to do
Yeah.
that too. Or I didn't
Yeah.
think about that or whatever. So I love that. Okay. I know
Hmm.
that we're getting close. So I want to, before I ask any more questions, I want to pause and just ask you if there's like anything that comes up for you about your work and things that are like really that would be beneficial to someone who's just like really looking to improve their health, their physique in this way, like with the work that you do with respect to nutrition and fitness that we haven't talked about that you think would be important to like bring forth here.
Ooh, just to mention.
Yeah, like I just want to make sure you had the opportunity in case, but I could see if there's, so we talked about challenges mothers face, right?
Mhm.
Let's see, any, maybe we could talk about, oh, maybe we could talk about your program that you have coming up if you want to. You want to
Sure.
take,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So this is Sculpted Strong Mom. At the time that this podcast will be releasing, I'm always actually enrolling Sculpted Strong Mom as long as I have space for it. It's my program that Misha is in right now.
I love it.
It's my 6 month program for moms to build muscle, lose fat, and get really strong. So I'll be enrolling. I think I'll be doing like a launch. So really promoting it then, but enrollment's always open. And that's my one-on-one coaching where you can come in and I design programs for you and workouts. And it's a lot of, I know you'll agree, it's a lot of touch points. So it's a very high touch, high support kind
It's
of program,
incredible.
very individualized so that you can just plug and play. It's try to take as much decision making off of your plate as possible so you can just show up and do the things.
I've honestly never in my, like I said, I've been in many a program in all the ways, and I've never had such an incredible experience as I have with yours. Like you really, the way that you've thought through every single thing so that it's easily accessible, it's easy to navigate. It's really, your energy is so powerful. You're so dialed into each client. You feel so held, and I just feel like it's a really, I feel it, if I were to describe, I feel it's a very shame-free, supportive, uplifting community for moms looking to feel their best, but have honestly, whether they've had negative past experiences, if they have an association with like trainers pushing them in places in ways that like just don't feel good or not understanding their struggles, like you're the person, your community and your program is definitely, where people should come.
Yeah,
I'm
I
so
keep my,
excited. Yeah.
oh yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, I think if this is something that you're interested in, definitely reach out to Tess, DM her on
Instagram would be the
yeah, but what
best
is,
probably.
yeah,
It's
you tell them your thing.
Tess underscore Franklin.
Yeah, I'll
Simple.
put it all in the show notes. And you could, if you could just say that if you heard it here, you could say Misha or your wife, and she'll know where you heard it. But oh my God, Tess, this was such an incredible conversation. I feel like so many moms need your magic. You're such a wealth of knowledge. I'm so grateful that you took the time to be with me today.
Thanks so much
Thank
for
you so
having
much.
me. I appreciate this. And it's been so great to connect with you just in general, like since the program. And I feel like maybe that goes back to what you were saying about feeling held and supported. I feel like so many of my clients just become friends. And it's such a
You're totally my friend.
special, yeah, like I had Pilates class with a few clients this weekend and my husband was like, who are you meeting? I'm like, my friends, clients? I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
how do I describe it. I keep my community small. Like I only work with a small number of clients so that I can have those like close relationships. But that's like the wonderful thing about this job that we have is being able to choose the people that are in your community and the people you work with so that we can really have this great open dynamic. And I can work with great people like you.
Yes. No, I totally feel the same way. I feel like my clients are my friends and it feels like, yeah, it's such a gift. And I feel like there's just there's so many, there's so many people selling snake oil online, and there's so
Yeah.
many like places where you don't get integrity. So it is hard to feel like, for a lot of people that have been burned in the past, to feel like to reach out to someone random on Instagram to know that they have integrity. And so my hope is that people know after hearing from you that she's your girl, like she's got integrity.
Thanks.
And yeah, also I feel like, last thing, do you feel like you've had the biggest transformations you've had with people have been the people that did the long game?
Oh, always. Always.
Yeah, that's good to
Always.
know. Yeah.
Yeah, I have had some clients who really came in like hot and heavy, who were just like fully in it and who lost 15 pounds like right off the bat. But the ones who have stuck with me year over year, who have found other things to be excited about too, about like strength training and hitting PRs, and have started to look at this not just in 3-month weight loss goal, but as, okay, what comes after that?
Yeah.
Because this has to go on forever, and starting to understand the ebbs and flows and the cycles, and like prioritizing different goals at different times and different life stages, just having like an assortment of goals. Like now it's almost hard for my clients to narrow down, because I want to do this and I want to hit this PR, but I want to also do this. And there's so many great things that we can do with our bodies. Yeah, so it's
so true. And
it's
so
just a matter of
which
pacing it.
season are you in?
Which season are you in? What do you have the capacity for right now? What can we actually work towards? What's feasible? Yeah, but always the long game. Like really, because that it speaks to consistency. It speaks to, if I can't do everything, I'll just do something right now, because I have faith that if I just keep showing up and doing as best I can on this day, eventually I will get there. So we say there's no failing. The only way you fail is if you quit. As long as you just keep showing up, you can't fail. You're
in the game still.
You're in the game. Exactly. And again, like any kind of momentum forward is still movement. It's still progress.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much for for everything. All right, friends, what'd you think? I really hope you enjoyed listening and got value from this episode of Your Well Life. If you did, it would mean the world to me if you could leave a review so we can spread the word to more mamas who can benefit from this content. It's truly my deepest mission to help as many mamas out there feel empowered, aligned, and in flow in their bodies and lives through this podcast. And even just sharing with one friend who you think can benefit helps. Want more from me? Well, then don't forget to subscribe to this podcast so you can get notified each time a new episode drops. Oh, and make sure to get on my newsletter list where I send out weekly emails to support, nourish, and inspire you. And follow me on Instagram, where I'm the most active and share behind the scenes of my day-to-day life and insights I have along the way. I'm at Misha Vayner. I'm truly so grateful that you chose to spend your time with me, and really hope to have you join along next week. Same time, same place. Bye for now.